The Vanishing of Blackwood Manor. The rain poured relentlessly over the dense forests of Blackwood, drenching the narrow, winding road that led to the infamous Blackwood Manor. The mansion, a sprawling Victorian estate, had stood for over 2 centuries, its darkened windows staring vacantly into the misty night. Detective Evelyn Carter tightened her trench coat around her as she stepped out of her car. The headlights cast eerie shadows over the overgrown driveway. The case she was called in for was unlike any she had handled before. A man had vanished from a locked room. The disappearance. Jonathan Blackwood, the last heir of the Blackwood family, had disappeared 3 nights ago. According to his sister Margaret, he was last seen in his study before retiring to bed. The next morning, his bedroom door was locked from the inside, and when the housekeeper, Mrs. Hensley, finally broke in, the room was empty. The window was shut, with no signs of forced entry or exit. His bed was untouched, and his personal belongings were all in place, except for one thing: a single candle still burning, though it should have extinguished hours earlier. Evelyn examined the room carefully. She touched the windowsill. No signs of dampness or footprints on the ground outside. No hidden passages in the walls. She turned her gaze to the candle. Its wax had hardly melted. How could a candle burn for 3 days? Margaret stood at the doorway, her hands clasped tightly. "Detective, do you think this has something to do with the legend?" Evelyn frowned. "What legend?" Margaret hesitated. "The Blackwood curse. They say our ancestors practiced dark rituals. Every few generations, a Blackwood vanishes without a trace, leaving behind only a burning candle." Evelyn was a woman of logic, but she couldn't deny that something was off. She questioned the house staff, but no one had seen or heard anything unusual, except for Mrs. Hensley, who swore she heard whispering the night Jonathan vanished. The hidden chamber. Determined to find an answer, Evelyn spent the night in Jonathan's room. She extinguished the candle, locked the door from the inside, and waited. Hours passed, and just as she was about to dismiss the mystery, she heard it, a faint whisper, like a breeze carrying a secret. She followed the sound, pressing her ear against the wall. A draft brushed against her cheek. A hidden door. She ran her fingers along the wooden panels until she found a small, almost imperceptible groove. Pressing against it, the wall gave way, revealing a narrow, dark passage. Evelyn's heart pounded. She pulled out her flashlight and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, the walls lined with strange symbols. The passage led downward beneath the house until she reached an old wooden door. Taking a deep breath, she pushed it open. Inside, the room was small, filled with aged furniture and bookshelves. And there in the corner sat Jonathan Blackwood, alive but dazed. "Jonathan," Evelyn called cautiously. He turned slowly, his eyes hollow. I thought I was dreaming." The truth unveiled. Jonathan explained that on the night he vanished, he had heard whispers calling his name. When he followed them, the wall in his room had opened by itself, revealing the passage. Something compelled him to enter. As soon as he stepped inside, the door sealed behind him. He had been trapped ever since, unable to leave, as if an unseen force held him there. Evelyn examined the room. It seemed untouched for years. A dusty book lay open on the desk. She flipped through its pages, rituals, symbols, and accounts of previous disappearances. Then Evelyn saw it, the candle. The same candle from Jonathan's room, still burning beside him. Realization struck her. The candle wasn't ordinary. It was the key. It had been burning for centuries, its flame holding some kind of power. Jonathan had blown it out the moment she arrived. Margaret gasped when Evelyn brought Jonathan back upstairs. "It's broken," she whispered. "The curse is broken." Evelyn wasn't so sure. She glanced back at the dark passage. As she shut the secret door, she felt a chill run down her spine. From within the walls, a whisper lingered, soft, almost amused. The candle, now extinguished, left behind nothing but a wisp of smoke curling into the night.